What's up, YouTubers? Jonny May here, and welcome to this live Q&A. This is an awesome time for us to hang out live. I'm going to be playing some live requests from you. I'm also going to be taking your questions about the piano. We go live here on the YouTube channel a couple times each year, and we usually do this during our specials. Actually, we're currently running our big summer special, up to 50% off the Piano with Jonny membership, which ends tonight. So for all of you guys who've considered becoming a member, this is the best time all year to sign up. And if you are not sure about the membership or you're feeling uncertain about it, we do offer a 30-day money-back guarantee. So there's really nothing to lose. If you've ever considered being a member, this is the time to jump on. Oh, all right, my friends, it is good to be back here, and thank you guys all for tuning in. Want to say hello to everyone. We have your comments here on the screen. We also have our community manager, Katie, rushing. So everybody say what's up, Katie. Katie is our full-time community manager at Piano with Jonny, interacts with our students, offers course recommendations, and really if you have any questions about the membership, you can ask her. So she's hanging out here. I know we also have a lot of members jumping into the chat, so if you are a member at pianowithjonny.com, please let us know in the comments here on the YouTube channel. And truly it is good to be with all of you guys. I want to thank all of you guys for being subscribers on the channel. It's been a lot of fun. We have been running the Piano with Jonny YouTube channel for a long time. I think we've been on YouTube for 10 years, and it is so much fun making new content. We always read your comments, so please continue leaving your comments about topics that you want us to cover on the channel. As many of you know, we put out a new video every week, so if you ever have particular things you'd like us to cover, please let us know. And basically today we're just hanging out, having fun. I will be answering your piano questions. If you have a song request, I'm happy to play it. Really consider this like a private piano lesson. You get to hang out with me and I ask you a simple question. How can I help you at the piano? What are your struggles? Where are you feeling confused? Where are you hitting a roadblock in your playing? Or where are you hitting a ceiling? And how can I help you get to that next level? That's what we love doing here at Piano with Jonny, is really helping each one of you guys take your playing to the next level. So truly good to be here with you guys live, and again, we are running our 50% off summer special right now, so if you've ever considered joining, this is the best time to try out the membership. Very good. Yeah, enjoying the classy jazz videos. Casio. I am not a big Casio fan. I am a big fan of Yamaha keyboards. We are not endorsed by them, so I don't get paid. I just love their keyboards. I play on a Yamaha CP4. It's a great keyboard. And then we have another studio space where we have some other teachers who create content, and we think we have a Yamaha P515 there. So it is a fantastic keyboard. Yeah, Medelli SP4200. I can't say I know anything about that. Is that probably not a Yamaha, but I'm not really an expert on keyboards, so there are guys who kind of specialize in that and they know all of the tech behind the keyboards. For me, what matters the most in a keyboard is that it feels like a piano and it sounds like a piano, because that's really how I'm trained, is on a grand piano. And so when I play a keyboard, I want it to feel and sound like that. Of course, you can get all kinds of other cool sounds. This is Arm, is that how you say your name? Jonny, do you think it's better to learn deeply one single piece or learning multiple pieces not so deeply? Yeah, it really depends on what you want to do. Like if you want to do a concert, then yeah, you want to learn one piece deeply. If you want to understand theory, or if you're really wanting to get a sense for maybe harmonic structure of tunes, then you want to learn a lot of different tunes. So as an example, if you want to learn jazz, oftentimes it's good to learn lots of different tunes as opposed to having one tune that you can perform really well, because jazz is about improvisation and really understanding the harmonic structure of tunes. And so if you talk to a lot of pro jazz pianists, sometimes, or actually I'd say oftentimes, they know hundreds of jazz tunes and they know it well enough to play it. They know the melody and the chords, but that's enough to get by. And so in many ways, I would say it kind of depends on your learning goal. If you want to do a concert, with some show piece, then yeah, you want to learn that piece very well. So I would say it really depends on your learning goals. I am basically, I would say as a jazz pianist, I tend to go deep on tunes. But then once I've gone deep, I kind of know it, and it's like kind of part of me in a sense. And so I can hold on to it for a long time. I actually find if I put a lot of work in on the front end, maybe a week or two into a tune, it's strong enough to where I can play it maybe once a month, and it's still in my fingers. And so that's kind of an optimal goal. You want to find a kind of a balance between the two. All right, and again, if you're just tuning in, let us know if you are a member at Piano with Jonny, and again, welcome everyone who follows the channel. Truly good to be with you. Andre, welcome. Andre is one of our members. Good to see you, Andre. Could you play your original Believe? I'll play it in just a minute. I want to grab a couple of these questions. This is Way of Life they're saying, I'm still having trouble with left hand 2-note chord and 3-note chords. Yeah, and that's a common struggle. One way to work on this is just practice different chord shapes. So that is a 2-note chord, right? The 5th shape is really common. What you want to do is you want to start playing chord shapes, and especially in jazz, we have these 7th shapes and these 3rd shapes. These are called chord shells. You want to get really comfortable with these chord shapes. And there's all kinds of cool exercises, like the one I'm playing. Basically, you rotate root 7, root 3. And you go through all your keys, root 7, root 3. You see what's happening? Root 7, and you can even go to E minor, root 7. This is a really important chord shape. If you want to play jazz, you've got to know this 7th to root 3. It's really common. Right, you see this root 7, root 3? That's a very basic one. This was a technique used by Bud Powell. He was a bebop pianist, and he used really sparse left hands. Of course, there's different left hand shapes. We cover all of these in our Foundations learning tracks over at pianowithjonny.com. You learn all the essential shapes, including chord shells, rootless voicing chords, basically all the things that I use. Andre wants me to play Believe, and Andre actually used to be a private student of mine. I don't teach privately anymore, but sure, I'll play a little bit of this. This is an original tune, Believe. Stars, Believe. Yeah. Thanks, Andre. Yeah, wrote that tune a while ago, 2016. You can actually learn that at pianowithjohnny.com. We have the sheet music as well as a course, full-length course on how to put the pieces together. Also my arranging process, how I write a melody like that, and how I put all the pieces together. A really good course on that. How can I, let's see, there was a question up here. Yeah, this is Faith Saturday. I play jazz, but I find it difficult to find jazz chords without the sheet. Yeah, that can definitely be a tricky thing, right? The sheet oftentimes helps us kind of know the chords. The thing with jazz chords is they follow like a very predictable pattern, right? So in jazz, we have this chord progression called the 2-5-1, and you see it everywhere, like, you know, Misty, right? It's just chocked full of these 2-5-1 chord progressions, and so if you learn these patterns, you can more easily find the chords. In that particular progression, we went like E flat major, and then we went to A flat, which is like a 4 chord, but we did a 2-5-1 to A flat. And if you learn these 2-5 chord progressions, you're going to be able to navigate jazz standards so much easier because you really start to simplify the chord progressions. You know, when I see a jazz standard, and I think when most pro musicians look at a standard, if you count the chords, you might find, you know, 50 chords or something. But when a jazz musician looks at a jazz standard, they actually see like 4 chord progressions. And they see these patterns that repeat themselves. And so that's how jazz musicians can memorize so many tunes, is that they see these common chord progressions. And there's actually 8 of them, okay, that you're going to find in jazz. I do want to recommend a really good course on this topic. In fact, a lot of you guys have checked out pianowithjohnny.com. But if you check out our lead sheet courses, basically we teach these courses at the end of our learning tracks. We've got a 9-level foundation learning system here at Piano with Johnny. As a good example, if you, let's say, we'll go here, intermediate. So let's say you're on the early intermediate side. This is our level 4 foundations learning track. But I want to show you guys this. This is really important. This course, Play Piano Lead Sheets with 7th Chords, it takes you through the 8 most common chord progressions in jazz, applying this particular idea, 7th chords. And this is a really, really important course, I would say, for any person who wants to not only play jazz piano, but read lead sheets and play popular songs from the swing era, so 1930s through the 1950s. These chord progressions, once you learn them, it's going to make so much more sense when you open a fake book, because you see these this chord progression recycled across tons of jazz standards. So we actually go through this, these 8 chord progressions on all of these lead sheet courses, and we do it for each level. So we start actually this one at the early intermediate level, and we work you up to advanced. So it's a really good course. I would say, I forget who asked this question, but if you want to play jazz chords without the book, then this is going to be really important for all of you guys. Okay, I'm going to skip ahead. I want to catch some of the newest comments here. Again, welcome. If you're just tuning in, please let us know if you're a member at Piano with Johnny. And I do want to remind you guys, we're running our biggest special that we do all year long, up to 50% off the Piano with Johnny membership. The special ends tonight, okay? So this is the lowest price we offer. And we also do a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not happy with it, you can get your money back, and it's no issue at all, okay? All right, let's keep going here. This is Home Again. Yeah, Noma. Yeah, she's asking a question about the pedal. And Home Again, I haven't played this arrangement in a while. I think this is the tune. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to have to pull this tune up here. It's one of my favorite tunes. I did compose the tune, so I'm a little bit partial to it. But yeah, this is, oh, it's in the key of F. I was playing it in the wrong key. Whoopsie. I want to answer her question here about the pedaling. Basically, yeah, maybe I can show this on the screen here for all of you guys. Well, I'll just go ahead and play it for you. The melody goes like this. So I'm just reading off the sheet. This is one of our sheets that you can get at pianowithjohnny.com inside of our membership. So your question's about pedaling. Yeah, it's a really good question. And I would say this question, my answer applies to all of you guys who struggle with the pedaling. Let's say you're playing a ballad like this. When do I pedal? Right? Do I pedal here? Okay. The short answer is you pedal when the chord changes. So in this case, you've got an F chord, kind of an F2, and then we switch to a very different chord. Okay. This is a B flat add 2. Okay, it's a completely different chord. You do not want to keep the pedal down through both chords because they're going to muddy with each other. Okay. Now you might ask the question, okay, that sounds great, but how do I know when the chord changes? Well, that's a little bit harder question to answer. For example, let's say I'm on an F chord, and then on the next measure I add a G to that chord, or maybe on the next measure I add an E to that chord. Did the chord change? I would say not enough necessarily to merit a pedal change. So in this case, let's say you're on an F chord for a while, and then on the next one you go, you know, and then you're back to F, right? You can keep the pedal down the whole time, okay? But if the chord changes, if it goes to a C or a B flat, you definitely want to quickly lift and repress the pedal. Usually it's indicated by the root changing, okay? So if, you go to F and you go to B flat, that's a new chord, okay? So right when the chord changes, Noma, quick lift and you're back down, okay? And you lift and you're back down as you press the new chord, okay? So for this arrangement, okay, I'm gonna just demonstrate the pedal. So I'm down, down, and then lift. And when I say lift, you're immediately back down, okay? We do have a whole course on this topic where we discuss basically all of the pedaling techniques that you really need to know regardless of the style that you're playing. Let's see if we can find this course. It's called Piano Pedal Essentials. Here is our library at Piano with Johnny. It's this course right here. Walk you through everything you need to know about the pedals. We talk about what the pedals do, 20 exercises for the pedal, and then how to use the pedal on 22 different piano styles. So how do you use it on jazz? How do you use it on blues? How do you use it on a ballad? How do you use it on a bossa nova, pop, contemporary, ragtime, stride? These are all different styles, and you're going to actually pedal a little differently on each style. The pedal actually becomes a device that you can use to swell. It's like a pseudo swell effect. And so anyway, we put that together for you guys. So you can check that out in more detail. All right, let's keep going. Please play Footsie Woman. Love that piece. And Johnny Hodges, sure thing. I'm going to skip the piano solo, but that is another original tune based in one of my favorite styles, which my teacher taught me ages ago, Johnny Hodges. He was the former Disneyland Main Street pianist and totally changed my life when I met him. And he taught me basically old-time piano, so stride, ragtime, blues, honky-tonk, country western. But he taught me this style in particular, which he called the burlesque blues style, and it's this big, you know, big blues, kind of sexy sound. And I just fell in love with this sound. And he really was the master at playing this. And so he taught me a song called, oh my goodness, My Handyman. And so that Footsie Woman is based on the chord progression for My Handyman. Play Happy by Pharrell Williams. Goodness. Yeah, I don't know the tune well enough. I think that's the chord progression. Welcome, Jill. Glad you remember at Piano with Johnny. Okay, Andre, what's up? Nora Jones, block chords. Can I have a light about the method? Nora Jones, block chords. Are you talking about this arrangement? Yeah, I did an arrangement of Don't Know Why, but you're talking about block chords. Block chords are these, okay? One of my favorite techniques. So I'm going to answer your question. I don't use block chords specifically with Nora Jones. Although you can go. You know. So yeah, I wouldn't mix the two, but block chords are a five note voicing technique. All of you guys who like this style, this was popularized by George Shearing, one of my all-time favorite jazz pianists. And you basically take a melody. You know, in the case of Nora Jones, I'll tie this in with your question, but you know, her melody on Don't Know Why, da 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 da, right? You get that octave. I do a little roll-ups. Right? And then you do three voices in the middle, right? Now there's a whole technique to this, right? Every chord tone of a scale is harmonized in a particular way with your block chords. Another name for this, by the way, is your locked hands. But basically, you need to learn your major scale, minor scale, and dominant scale using block chords. We have a whole system at Piano with Johnny where you learn how to harmonize, you know, a major scale using block chords. Okay, and you do this for each chord type. So, you know, if you're on a C, C minor, right? How do you harmonize that as block chords? And then, like an F7, you know, how do you harmonize that? It's a dominant chord. And so you learn the system, and once you learn the system, you can use this on any tune because, you know, most tunes use major chords, minor chords, and dominant chords. Of course, there's, you know, diminished chords. You know, that's an exception. Or minor 7, flat 5. You're going to find those chords as well. But once you learn this system, yeah, you can play block chords fairly easily on tunes. Emmanuel, these are great questions, you guys. You know what I love about our audience here on YouTube, and just, I would say our audience in general, all of our students, you guys ask great questions. And I always say your answer is only as good as your question. You know, you really want to be thinking, what matters here? What's important? What are the connections that I need to make? And I love seeing your questions because I can tell that you guys are thinking. You're thinking about music in a deep way. And it's not just what are the notes you're playing, is how are you thinking about the notes? And what's the system you're using? Because I'm using a system very clearly in everything I do. And when you systematize something like improvisation in jazz, you can teach it and you can digest it and you can use it. It's a language, okay? And there's rules to every language. There are absolutely rules to jazz. Remember, you can break them. You gotta learn the rules first. Emmanuel, show us how you voice the dominant seventh to sound awesome. Great question. I'll use this in the setting of a blues, okay? By the way, I'm going to check our connection here and make sure you guys are going strong. Good to be here with you guys. So blues, a lot of students are interested in blues piano, right? And let's say you were playing a blues in the key of C, right? And you wanted to go to a 4 chord, right? That's F7, and then your 5 chord is a G7, okay? There's super hip way to harmonize these chords. I'll show you a few basic ways, okay? One really basic way is to do a spread voicing. This is super hip, okay? So it's the C7, got my 9, and what makes this sound really cool is you slide it. You slide the D, okay? This is really important. I don't hear students do this enough. They'll play a blues chord like this, and they go like this. It's like, it's so square, okay? Okay, so you want to slide 1 or 2 notes if you can. Look at my F chord. I'm sliding the D. You could also slide the A. Okay, you gotta get a slide in there if you want it to sound bluesy, okay? The other thing is you want to play with some articulation. Okay, notice the first one is short and quiet. The second one is loud and long, okay? Other ways to play these chords, Emmanuel, you can grab your C like this. This is a rootless voicing. F like this. This is a rootless voicing. These are 13 chords. They're basically extended dominant chords where you add a 9 and a 13. And then I revoice the notes. I put the A down here, okay? So it looks like that. I get rid of the 5th. I'm sort of substituting the A for the G, and then I get rid of the root. No root. It's a rootless chord, and you can do this on all your chords. Super hip voicing. Here's your G, okay? And then the last one I would say is a quartal voicing. That's super hip, okay? It's a spread out C9, and the chord is made up primarily of 4th intervals, so we call this a quartal voicing. You got a augmented 4th, you do have a 3rd there, that's okay, but then a perfect 4th and a perfect 4th, okay? Of course you want to slide it, okay? There's your F, okay? And then on your G chord, that's super hip, okay? So it's built 3, 7, 9, 5, 1, 7, 3, 13, 9, and 5, and 7, 3, 13, 9, and 5. Okay. The last thing you can do is you can do this. It's a technique called sidestepping, where you grab the dominant chord just below it. Okay. That's very hip. Okay. Same on the F. Right. Super cool. Right. G. Yeah. That's really cool as well. Okay. And then again, slide your notes. Okay. Each one of these techniques we do cover in detail at pianowithjohnny.com. I just want to show you guys this because we truly have built out the entire learning system for jazz piano that takes you from complete beginner all the way to a pro level. And when I say pro, I mean if you get to level 9, you can play better than me practically because you really, really know all of these chords inside and out. But I do want to show this to you. Some of these systems that I was just discussing on each of these voicings. For the 7th chords, you can learn, basically all of these start at the intermediate level, but you can learn the 7th chord voicings here at level 4, level 5, more on that. We get to the extended notes, and then the rootless voicings is probably one of the coolest courses on this topic here. So we get into this topic down here, specifically the dominant 7 rootless voicings. This is where you can learn all of the voicing techniques. And then block chords, drop 2s, quartal voicings you're going to find at level 9. That is definitely one of the most advanced harmonic techniques, but you can learn these dominant quartal voicings here. We're actually just finishing out this learning track here with these courses. I think we're publishing these this month. We're completely finishing them. So stay tuned for that. And again, you can learn all of your voicings here. This is actually a good course, Quartal Voicing Essentials. We do cover dominance there. But the new courses will be more detailed on that topic. Okay? All right. Let's keep going. Could I write a book? It's been a long time since I've played that tune. This is a good example, A Way of Life, right? You asked me to play this tune. It's been years since I played the tune, but I know the melody, right? And da, if they asked me, I could write a book, right? You gotta know the melody, but once you know that, you know, it's like this question of the chords, right? This is a great example of a tune that recycles one of the 8 chord progressions I was talking about earlier. It's the turnaround. So, you know, I was sitting here and I was playing what sounded like an arrangement. I was improvising over. Right? This whole A section is basically C, A, D, G, C. There's some little passing chords you can add, but this is a great example of, you know, knowing a chord progression, and then literally now I can play hundreds of tunes because I'm like, oh, that's the turnaround, right? I know the turnaround. And you want to know the turnaround in different keys. You want to know it in C, and you want to know it in F. These are very common keys. B flat is a very common key. But I would not say to learn your turnaround necessarily in all 12 keys, because how often do you play a jazz tune in the key of A? Not often. Or E? Not often. And so there are really 5 or 6 keys that you really should know these progressions in. I'll tell you what they are. C, F, B flat, E flat. Those are the most common. You're going to get G in there, especially on a blues. The last one, if you really want to be comfortable, is A flat. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If you know these 6 keys, you will be able to play 90% or more of tunes. This is another misconception I see a lot of students, that they think I learn one concept, I need to learn it in all 12 keys, and it can be so overwhelming, and a lot of times they quit because they're like, I got to play it in all 12 keys. That's not true, okay? If you're learning the blues and you're playing the piano, if you learn your blues in C, F, and G, you got 90% of tunes, okay? Okay, so I encourage all of you guys to think this way, is really, don't look for the bang for your buck, right? If you learn a concept, learn it in the 90%. Don't go overboard and feel like you need to do it in every key, okay? Johnny, reasoning with soloing. How do you think when playing a solo? It's a great question. Faith Saturday. Yeah, it's a good question. It's I could go really deep on it. So right now I'm just jamming on a C. What am I thinking? You know what I'm really thinking here, Faith? I'm thinking of shapes, okay? A lot of teachers, when they teach soloing, they'll say, well, here's a scale, right? And they might say on a C chord, they might say, oh, here's a nice scale, the Lydian scale, right? And you think, okay, cool, okay, Lydian. All right, okay, I'm playing Lydian. Doesn't sound good. Well, because you're thinking very linear, right? A scale goes up and a scale goes down, okay? Don't think about scales this way. It's much better to think of a scale as a series of shapes, okay? And the way to do this is to practice your diatonic triads and your diatonic 7th chords. If you're more on the beginner side, go through a scale like your C Lydian and play all the triads that come from it, okay? And this will radically transform the way you solo. Because now instead of going, C scale, right, and skipping some notes, now I'm going, whoa, what's happening? Right? I'm skipping around, I'm playing these really interesting lines because now I'm thinking of these seventh shapes. And how can I, right? Right, there's an A minor 7 that comes from the diatonic seventh chords. Okay, and so this will change the way you think of soloing. Now, there are some shapes that are more important than others, okay? If I practice all of these seventh chords up this C Lydian scale, some of them sound better than others. This one sounds better than this one, right? Some of these notes clash a little more with the chords, okay? So the one built on the root, the third, the 5, and the 6 tend to sound the best. Right? I'm building all these lines on the root, the 3rd, the 5th, and the 6th, okay? And that's just one chord, but I really encourage all of you guys watching, when you're soloing, is don't think of a scale necessarily, but to try to think of the shapes that come from the scale. I mean, of course, you can play a line that goes up like that, you know, or I mean, you can play something linear, right? That's more of a run. But if you're playing little lines, also, when I'm building lines, I want these little gaps. A lot of students make the mistake of playing these sort of run-on sentences. When you play a line, that's my line. That's my line. Some triplets there, okay? And there's all kinds of different rhythms that you can use when you're soloing. We have some really good courses on each of these topics. Actually, on this particular one, where we're really focusing on the Lydian scale. We built out a full course on, let's see, Lydian, is it improv? I think that's the word we use. Maybe it's a Lydian soloing. Maybe it's more of a broad term. Yeah, I think we call it Lydian soloing. But it's a whole course on this mode. It's actually just an entire course on one scale and how to build lines using all of the techniques that I'm showing you here. This is our beginner to intermediate level course. If you're a late beginner, you definitely can take this course. This is a little more on the advanced side, but this talks about everything we just discussed. We talked about the scale, accompaniments. We talked about different exercises, using steps, thirds, outlining chords. That was the technique I was just showing you. Soloing over multiple chords using this technique. So it's really a deep dive. And what's nice about these courses is you're not learning like a huge chord progression, and you're not learning like 10 different scales. It's like one scale, one chord, what can you do with it? You got to start small before you can go big. It's one of the biggest mistakes I see students make is they try to tackle these big chord progressions with lots of different scales. And then it's a huge struggle because they're taking on way more than they can chew. Okay, remember, it's one little bite at a time, one scale at a time. If you can master these techniques with one scale, you can do it with 2. And if you can do it with 2, you can do it with 4. Okay, and you start to build out from there. What's my favorite key? I do like G minor. G minor is a good one. In terms of a minor key, that's a tricky one. I mean, G minor is probably one of my favorites. I should say. Right, autumn leaves. You could think of that as G minor or E minor. Yeah, G minor is a nice one. D minor is also quite nice. Let's see, A minor is a good one. F minor, I like that one. Let's see. Some ways to voice the 2-5-1. Sure. Actually, we made a whole quick tip on this particular topic, and it's. I can show this, guys. I'll give you an answer here, but I want to show this to you. In fact, you can watch this on pianowithjohnny.com, but it's all about 2-5-1 voicings. Let's see if we can find this here. Because, yeah, this is going to answer your question better than I can, but I'll give you an answer. But this is the quick tip. And this is free content, by the way. All of our quick tips are here at pianowithjohnny.com. 2-5-1 chord progression, 5 levels from beginner to pro. This is all about voicing the 2-5-1, okay? This really is a deep dive. By the way, we have a fantastic blog writer, Michael Ledisa. He writes all of our blogs for us, and he does a wonderful job here. And he really gives you a nice summary. You can go through our full blog. It's pretty long, but you learn everything you need to know about these 2-5-1 chords. Anyway, to answer your question, what are cool ways to voice the 2-5-1? So for starters, doing a spread voicing, anytime you have a chord like a 2 chord, it's very simple. All you do is you get rid of the 5th, okay, and you're left with a chord shell, root 3-7, okay. You can start here and then go to your 5 chord, drop your top note down, beautiful, and then your 1 chord is here, okay. That's probably the best place to start, okay? I mean, yeah, of course you can play root position chords, but this is nice voice leading when you go, okay? That's magical. And then you can invert it. It's beautiful, okay? You can play whole jazz tunes this way, right? Cigarette holder, she wigs me over her shoulder, she digs me, I'm cattin'. That satin, oh, it's got the melody wrong there. That satin doll. You can play the whole tune using these chords. That's one system. Then there's other things you can do. You can get the 9 in there. That's really nice. That's really nice. That's a nice system. So. And then there's more. You can do a quartal system. Okay. There's the block chords. Drop 2s. I mean, there's so many of these. Let's see. There are. There's also distribution between the hands, so you can think slightly differently about this. You could think 2 voices. Right? That's a nice system. Or you can think 1 against 2, or you can think 1 against 2, 1 note in the right hand versus 2 in the left hand. That's another way to think about it. There's 6-note voicings, you know, where you have kind of a Red Garland approach. And then you can go bigger. You can go. There's a lot of these systems, and the key is to pick one and just really focus on it. I'm giving you a very broad overview, but you really want to master each of these systems. And again, I'm gonna tell you about courses here because we really go into these details on these courses, which, you know, this is why we've put together Piano with Johnny, is to give you everything that you need. But if you go through each of our, and actually this is probably the best way to find it. If you type the word 2-5-1, trying to think of the fastest way to, I'll say 2-5-1 exercises. That's probably the best way. 2-5-1 exercises. Go filter down by courses. There's 13 courses that focus on this. So minor 2-5-1 4-note chordal exercises. So this is the 4-note system over a minor 2-5-1. For this one, this is a major 2-5-1. So it'd sound like this. It's a 4-note system. Okay. Chord extensions and alterations, that would be that. Let's see, you've got rootless voicings, which is very similar. And then a bunch of soloing courses over this topic. So the 2-5-1, there's so many ways to do it. You really want to go through each of these courses to really understand at a deeper level how to approach them. Okay, again, pick one. Don't try to do all of them because it can be very overwhelming, but pick one and focus on it. Make sure you're feeling good about it. Okay, let's keep going here. This is a guitar question here. As an amateur guitarist, while listening to a simple song, I can instantly visualize and play proper chords on guitar. How do you do it on the piano in 24 tonalities? Yeah, exactly. It's the same thing as a guitar. What I was saying earlier, on a guitar you're playing shapes, okay? for piano, you need to learn the shapes in various keys. Every key has different shapes, okay? E major has its own kind of shapes to it, okay? I call this the mountain shape, right? Because it goes up and down, okay? And you learn this I would start with your primary chords. So that's a mountain, that's a mountain. And this one is like an upslope. See, it starts low and then it goes up, okay? So mountain, mountain, upslope, okay? And then you've got different shapes. Like if you go to a 2 chord, that's a valley, right? It dips down and then it comes back up, okay? So there's different shapes, and you want to start to identify these shapes, and especially like chord families, okay? Like, you know, as I mentioned, E major and A major, there's the same shape, right? E flat major, A flat major, it's the same shape, okay? Let's see, D flat minor, A flat minor, okay? These are chord families. C, F, G, A, all share the same shape. If you learn these chord families, you're going to have a much easier time playing these chords, okay? That's a very broad, I would say, description of it, but think shapes. It's no different than a guitar. I think with a piano, you know, it's all laid out in this very linear fashion, right? You've got the notes going down and the notes going up. On a guitar, you have your various frets and you have various strings. It's much easier to see the shapes, but it's really no different on the piano. The key is learning your diatonic chord shapes. So go through your key. You know, those are the ones in C. Those are easy. But then go to F. Ah, I got the B flat. Okay, and then go to B flat. Ooh, what are my chord shapes? This is the way we actually teach at pianowithjohnny.com, and I want to show you this as an example. Again, why this is so important, but as we take you through all of the beginner learning tracks, I'll use this one here as an example. This is level 3, okay? Let's pick a key, A flat major, okay? What we do for A flat major is we spend a whole lesson on the diatonic chords. That's so crucial. You learn the scale, but more importantly, the chord shapes that come from the scale. This is how you truly master playing chord progressions and how you become fluent at the piano, and especially in a key. You learn the language of the key by learning the harmonic basis of the key, and that comes from the diatonic chords. It's all of the chords that come from the key. And so many students, unfortunately, don't realize this. They think keys are based on scales, and on one hand, that's true. But if you're looking at harmony, they're based on these triads, right? They're based on these 3-note structures, and you can do it with 7th chords, okay? That's more relevant to jazz, okay? All right, great questions. Let's continue along. We've been going here for about 50 minutes, and if you're just tuning in and you are a member at pianowithjohnny.com, please let us know. We want to welcome all of our members from pianowithjohnny.com. A lot of you guys have been tuning in here. And also just want to thank all of you guys who've been following the YouTube channel. It's been amazing to see it grow so much. I think we have over 350,000 followers on the channel, which is really exciting. You know, especially playing jazz and improvising. It's so cool to see a massive community around this topic. You know, because sometimes when you're playing jazz or in these styles, it can feel a little bit lonely. Like, well, how many other people want to learn this stuff? And there's a massive online community with people all across the globe who want to improvise. And that's so cool. We all get to hang out here. We get to talk about this beautiful instrument. And, you know, I wish something like Piano with Johnny existed when I was a kid. I had to go study with all these private teachers. And I would say learn kind of the hard way, learn the lonely way. And it's truly amazing that we all get to be here together. Let's see, I'm going to grab a few of these questions here. Joe Red. Johnny, how did you actually get the gig as a pianist at Disneyland? Also, that piano sound is beautiful. Is it the default patch? I'll answer the second question. This is the default sound on my Yamaha CP4. I've got EQ settings all set in the middle. And I have some reverb. That's it. I have the grand piano sound. This is the stock piano. So I don't think they make the CP4 anymore. The P515 would be the closest keyboard. How did I get the gig at Disney? Well, I studied with the Disney ragtime pianist, Johnny Hodges. I started when I was 13. And by the time I was 18, I had learned a bunch of ragtime tunes. And I got a call one day. I was in high school. It was May of 2005. And he called me and he said, hey, we're short on pianists. Do you want to come audition for the Disney ragtime pianist gig? And I was like, heck yeah. all my buddies were working at McDonald's. I was like, I want to work at Disneyland and play piano. So I came in and I had this audition, a private audition, and I was supposed to go backstage to audition, and my teacher who was playing there, Johnny, he said, hey, before you audition, come into the park and you can practice for your audition on the Main Street piano. And I thought, cool. So I went into the park. I was kind of nervous. He said, come on up. You can practice your tunes before your audition. I go up there. I play Maple Leaf Rag, and he says, okay, very nice. Do you want to play another song? And I thought, that's kind of strange. Usually he only lets me play one song. So I played another song, and he said, why don't you do one more? So I played another one. Finally finished, turn around, and there is Stan Freeze, the hiring manager at Disneyland. That was my interview. That was my audition. And he walked up and he said, you got yourself the job, kid. He said, you got to shave your goatee, though. Can't have facial hair. So that's the story of the Disney gig. And I played at Disneyland for 9 years. It was an amazing job. I met my wife there. I was flirting with a guest, and we got married a couple of years later. Oh, man. Let's see. Whole New World, Latin Samba. Yeah, thank God you shaved that goatee. It was a pretty big one. I was very proud of it. You know, when you're in high school, you're like, oh, how can I look a little older? Now I'm trying to do the opposite. But anyway, yeah, it lasted for about 2 years. How High the Moon? All right, very cool, guys. Yeah, I appreciate the request here. Always enjoy playing some jazz standards. And, you know, good music is good music. I think any style is fair game at the piano. As long as it has a good melody, a good chord progression, and you make it your own, then you can really play anything. Yeah, I'm glad the the goatee band would have personally been out the door on that one. Thanks, but no thanks, Bobby. Yeah, you know, I really wanted the gig. I think now at Disneyland you can have facial hair, but back then it was like, I guess facial hair was like scary to kids or something. Let's see, any courses specific to dynamics and touch? That's a great question. Yeah, dynamics are an important aspect of jazz playing. Really, when I think of this topic, it's really an articulation topic, right? How do you articulate a melody? How do you play with nuance? How do you play with a lyricism, right? That's dynamics. How do you obviously play louder, softer? How do you punch certain notes? It's a really important aspect of jazz playing that often gets overlooked because we get so into the chords and the scales, and the technique is oftentimes made a priority, but it's like you can say a sentence, but how do you say it with like purpose and a passion and in a meaningful way? We oftentimes don't talk about that enough. So here's some great content on this topic: 7 techniques to spice up a jazz melody. Our teacher, John Peru, I believe taught this quick tip, and he did a fantastic job where you can basically learn a lot of these sort of articulation techniques. He discusses that in a lot of detail. And then we have another really good course on, I believe it has the word feel, right? How do you get the right feel when you're playing jazz? And this is the quick tip here. And again, this is free content. 3 steps to getting a pro swing feel. And by the word feel, that encompasses the articulation, it encompasses dynamics. It's not the notes, it's how you play the notes. And this is kind of in the title here: right notes, wrong feel. Okay, so we talk about mastering the swing feel, articulating your 8th notes, accented upbeats. Where do you put your accents, your longs and your shorts? Really important topic. I do encourage this for all of you guys who are playing jazz, or you're playing different styles and you're playing the right notes, but it just doesn't sound right. It's like, what am I missing? I'm playing the chords, I'm playing the notes, and it just doesn't sound like a pro. You're probably not playing with the right articulation. You're probably accenting the wrong chords or the notes, or maybe you're playing, in a swing feel, the short notes long and the long notes short. Right, when I play lines like that, notice there are certain accented notes. Right? That's really important in jazz. Is you don't want to play all your lines like that, where they all have the same volume. Certain notes matter. Yeah, there's a whole art, I would say, to playing this way. You want to accent your upbeats. So kind of a mix, actually, of your downbeats and your upbeats, but you don't want to play them all the same volume, is basically what I'm saying here. Yeah, it's a whole art. It's kind of, in some ways, tricky to explain because it's kind of like when you're talking, it's like which words matter. Sometimes you can pick different words that matter, so it's not like a right or wrong way to do it. This is Eric's drums. Do you change your thought process when playing different genres? For example, how would you approach a simple chord progression, say A flat, E flat, in a jazz work? Oh yeah, versus rock. Yeah. So you're asking about playing different genres. Yeah, so genre, when I'm playing the piano, mostly comes from the left hand, okay? So not the right hand. The chords can stay the same for the most part, but it's the rhythm, particularly of the left hand, and there's definitely some rhythmic interplay with the right hand. So as an example, let's say, jazz. Okay, so we got this progression in jazz. And now, is this a ballad? Is it... I'm playing your chord progression, but if I'm doing a ballad, it's going to be this very nice root chord motion, E flat. I'm playing this as a dominant, B flat major. Now this is not a progression you would see in jazz, by the way, like A flat to E flat, so 1, 5, 2 to a minor 3. That's not a common progression in jazz. That's more of a pop progression or a rock progression, okay? So if it's rock, so I'm going to take a step back there. If it's jazz, I'm going to add some colors to the chords. I'm not going to play this. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to add a 7th, okay? Or on the E flat, I'm going to add a chord extension, okay? So yes, the chord can change between jazz and pop, but within jazz, if it's a ballad or if it's swing or if it's bossa nova, generally I'm going to play the same chords. It's more rhythmic, as I said earlier, okay? Rock, yeah, I'm playing the straight chords. Kind of depends on the rock. So if it's rock, you really want to emphasize 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. That is key to rock. 1 and 2 and 3. And you can do it different ways. You can go It's just roots, okay? That's the, I don't know, this is like a very cliche rock rhythm, but you can do it with chords. Notice I'm not deviating from this rhythm. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, it's the Ed Sheeran. You guys know that? It's that rhythm, okay? And then yeah, and then contemporary. It's usually more of a flowing kind of an approach. It really depends on what you're going after. Obviously, pop can be a lot of different things. Rock can be a lot of different things. Let's see, is there a difference between F7 and F major 7? Yeah, F7 is a dominant chord. Okay, F major 7 is a major 7th chord. Difference is on an F major 7, the E is a half step below the root, and on an F7, the E flat is a whole step below the root. This is more of a blues chord, or a chord you might see in jazz. This is a chord you'll also see in jazz, not so much blues, but you'll also see it in other styles. You'll see it in R&B and soul music, right? These major 7 chords. So it kind of depends on the style. Neo soul, you're going to see a lot of this, you know. Anyway, yeah. Let's see, how do you do piano runs and arpeggios, especially for cocktail piano? Yeah, so cocktail piano, the way I teach it is a turnaround. I call this cocktail piano. So the runs I like to play. Yeah, so I am loving my dominant diminished runs, okay? This is one of the most important scales that all of you should know, okay? If you want to play jazz, and even if you're not an advanced player and have a lot of technical facility, this is honestly the most important scale, I would say, if you want to play traditional jazz and you want to play runs and you want to solo, because you get massive bang for your buck. Okay, so I'm going to explain this to all of you guys. If you are playing a scale, we tend to think of the C scale, the F scale, right? Or the C blues scale, and then the F blues scale, and then the B flat blues scale, right? And there's like all these scales. Well, the dominant diminished scale is a magical scale because you only need to learn 3 of them, and you've covered all 12 of your dominant 7 chords, okay? So, and this blew my mind when I learned this. I was like, what? I learned 3 scales and I cover all 12, and it was like magical. And to this day, it is my go-to scale on a dominant chord, okay? Here's how it works. You take a C7, it's a blues chord, right? If you go up a half step from the C, you end up with this diminished chord called a C sharp diminished, okay? It's also called a C7 with a flat 9, okay? So all of these notes work with a C7 chord, right? Sounds pretty cool, right? Now, this is magical. If you go up a whole step from each of these notes, you actually end up with another diminished chord. You end up with an E flat diminished, okay? Well, guess what? All of these notes can also be added to a C7 chord. Okay, if you know your chord alterations and your chord extensions, this is a sharp 9, this is a sharp 11 or a flat 5, this is a 13, that's a root, okay? These are actually notes you can add to your dominant 7 chord, okay, an E flat diminished. It does sound kind of weird, but they work with the notes of the chord, okay? Now, if you mix these 2 diminished chords together, I'm going to try to play it like this, you end up with the dominant diminished scale, or the diminished scale. This is basically a whole step, half step scale starting from C sharp, okay? Or, if you think of it starting from C, it's a half step, whole step scale, okay? Same scale. This scale, so there's a lot of theory, but this scale works over 4 dominant 7 chords, okay? I can put it over a C7, because there's that half step. I can also put it over an E flat 7. I can also put it on a G flat 7, okay? And then I can put it on an A7. Notice that all the relationships are the same, okay? Starting from the dominant 7 chord, you go up a half step, whole step. The point is, with this one scale, I can play it over 4 different dominant chords. I can play it on an A7. I can play it on an E flat 7. I can play it on a G flat 7. And what's the one I missed? C7. Anyway, so if you learn, there's 3 of them. The dominant diminished scale, I'm not going to explain any more of this, but that's what I was doing when I was just playing these runs. A7, that's the dominant diminished scale. G7, dominant diminished scale. C7, C sharp, or the C dominant diminished scale. I use them everywhere and they sound freaking awesome, okay? I would say one of the most underused scales for jazz pianists. If you want to play runs, you learn your dominant diminished scales. We do have some good courses on this, or let's see, I'll just look it up for you guys. Dominant diminished. This is the nice thing also with Piano with Jonny, is you can just look up a scale, dominant diminished, and usually there's full-length content on each of these topics. We have some good courses that cover the diminished and dominant diminished. This is block chords. It's a pretty deep topic. But you'll really do well if you go to our quick tips. This is, again, all of our free content here. And I believe we have, we have a full quick tip on improvised jazz piano with the dominant diminished scale. It's everything you need to know. And I think we teach all 3 scales. Again, this is completely free content for you guys. You can scroll through the blog here. Hope that helps you. Do want to mention once again that we are running our biggest special that we offer all year long at pianowithjonny.com, up to 50% off the membership. I know a lot of you guys have been following the channel and enjoying the free content, and that is totally cool. But if you're feeling stuck in your playing, if you're not sure where to go from here, if you're feeling a little bit lost, you're watching lots of videos, but you're not really feeling like you're making progress in your playing, that's because YouTube is not a structured curriculum. No matter what, you're just jumping through different videos. You're going to learn some things here and there, but you're not going to learn how to connect the pieces. And that's what we've done at Piano with Jonny. We've really, truly put together the full learning curriculum, step by step, from level 1, you know nothing about the piano, to level 9. And that's where you can play literally everything that I play. All of the harmonic ideas, all of the soloing, lead sheets, ear training. It truly is the full curriculum. Andre, major chords with a sharp 5 is the same inversion, like C augmented. Major chord with a sharp 5 is the same inverted version, like C augmented, G augmented, G sharp augmented, So we call these symmetrical chords because they're all a major third apart, okay? And so an E augmented is the same as a C augmented, right? A G sharp augmented is the same as a C augmented. Same with diminished chords. Diminished chords are also symmetrical, okay? They're all minor third intervals. So that's a beauty. There's certain chords where they can basically be recycled. Romanian gypsy style does this. Romanian gypsy style. You talking about Django Reinhardt kind of style? So I call this stride piano, okay? So it's really this kind of... Right, kind of upbeat swing music. That's how I'm interpreting this question. Gypsy style is kind of an old school style of jazz. It's usually very upbeat, has guitar, violin in it. But at the piano we call it stride. Now you don't have to do the jump. You don't have to go. Right, you can go. Now, in gypsy, you don't walk bass lines, right? It's one thing I love to do on the piano, if it's a kind of a gypsy sound, is I will play a almost like a pedal point in one of the chords. So instead of going oom-pop, 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 oom, I'll go. You hear that constant, that note on top? That is so cool. A lot of pianists, when they're playing this style, they're going boom pop, okay? They just do root chord, but add a through note on the top. It's like a pedal, right? It just sits. I actually learned this technique at Disneyland. I was around a lot of these stride pianists, and oftentimes they would accompany a singer, or the Mad Hatter would come and do a show, or the barbershop crew there would come sing a tune, and the pianist would accompany. And I heard them, instead of going let's see. Goodbye, my Pony Island baby, farewell, my own true love. You guys know that one? I'm gonna go away and leave you, never to see you any, never gonna see you any. Right? It's a classic barbershop tune. And then instead of going, goodbye, my Coney Island baby, farewell, my own. Instead of doing that, they were going, goodbye, my Coney Island baby, farewell, my own true love. Right? You hear that constant? So cool. Anyway, so I'm relating this back to gypsy. Let's see. I do mean Manel. I'm not sure what you're talking about, but gypsy style jazz is going to have that upbeat swing style. All right. Sorry. I hope I gave you an answer. I don't know if it directly answered your question, but gypsy is certainly a fun style. This is Lucas. Can you give a tip to learn drop 2, most used in gospel songs? Yeah, it depends on the chord progression you're using. Drop 2 can be used in any style, okay? So I'm not sure what chord progression you're using, but let's just take a really simple one for gospel. Let's take an F to a D minor, okay? And let's go B flat major, and then we can go C, okay? It's very simple. 1, 6, 4, 5. At drop 2, you take a chord like an F major, drop this note. Beautiful, okay? And then the D minor. Drop in the D, it's a D minor 7. And then B flat major. Drop in the 2. Second note from the top, C7, okay? You can also do that, like A minor. Okay, and then a lot of gospel musicians will add passing chords. They'll do things like this. Yeah, I'm not sure if that's the sound you're after, but that would be a drop 2 sound over kind of a somewhat common gospel progression, 1, 6, 4, 5. Autumn Leaves in a Blues style. My goodness. Sure, I can try. All right, my friends, we're going to go just about 5 more minutes here. I want to thank all of you guys for tuning in for today. It's been a lot of fun. Always enjoy performing, enjoy playing. I mean, that's what this is all about. All of this teaching, all of this theory. It's like, what's the point? The point is to do that, okay? I don't think I've ever played Autumn Leaves like that. How was I able to do that? Well, I know the system of the blues, okay? there's a whole language of the blues. There's blues, not just blues chords, but there's a way in which the chords move and they connect with each other. And there's certain scales that work over certain series, series of chords that make it sound bluesy. And if you learn these systems, it's really cool what you can do. It really frees you up, I think, to play the styles that you want to play and to just have fun. I mean, that's what we're really doing here at the keyboard, is we're playing music that comes from our heart. And if you're not doing that, then it's like, you know, truly, what's the point of it? So yeah, lots of fun to do that stuff. Eugene Cicero, Romanian German gypsy style pianist. Yeah, I'll have to check him out. Sounds like some pretty good music. Let's see, some bossa nova. Diego from Brazil. One of my favorite bossa nova tunes is Wave. This is from Samedin. Can you teach us an intermediate blues in the key of G minor? Greetings from Belgium. Greetings. Actually, my co-founder at Piano with Johnny, Yannick, is from Belgium as well. So we got some Belgian in the house here. Blues licks in the key of G minor. Sure. Let's see. I'd say this is pretty intermediate. Yeah, so blues scale, right? This is a turn, and then I go 3, right? And then a 4th. Super cool. Yeah, super cool. There's a million of these blues riffs. Again, I'm going to mention courses when I feel like they will help you guys, but if you really want to learn blues riffs, you want to learn the coolest blues riffs. And this is literally my entire career as a professional pianist. Listening to blues piano, playing blues piano, these are my top 120 blues riffs for the piano. It's one of my favorite courses. It's one of our most popular. It's the Bible of Blues Riffs. Beginner, intermediate, intermediate, advanced. Okay, you're going to learn 60 blues riffs in this course. And every different type of riff, sliding, single note riffs, double note riffs, ostinatos, runs, combining various riffs. It is the most comprehensive course probably on the internet for blues riffs, and you'll have a lot of fun in this. So I do encourage you guys to check that course out if you want to learn blues riffs. And also playing them in different keys, that's a big deal. How do you transpose them into different keys? So we talk about that. What's the system? What's the thought process? You can also change the key of pretty much, I mean, most of our courses come with smart sheet music, and you can change the key with one button. You just say, put it in the key of G, and it puts the whole lesson sheet music in the key of whatever key you want to play in. I would love to play jazz without sounding bluesy. Yeah, stay away from the blues scale. Don't slide notes, and don't play the blues scale. You'll be fine, okay? You know, a good example of this is Bill Evans. He did a really nice job. He wasn't much into blues. Very occasionally you'd hear a blues scale in there, but he didn't play a lot of blues lines, so he's a good one to listen to. Play a blues in 3/4, so waltz style. One, two, three, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2. Is that what you're talking about, or are you talking about 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1? Different ways to play a waltz. I like to play it fast. Any Hannon exercises you recommend? I think all the Hannon exercises are good. To me, Hannon is really like a general technique exercise. So Hannon is great. I did Hannon. I studied classical piano when I was a kid, and I did Hannon, and I hated it, but I would say it helped me. It definitely gave me finger strength, speed, dexterity, control. The problem with Hannon is it's all this, okay? You're not really thinking about what you're playing, and so you're not really learning a language. It's purely technical. The other issue with Hannon for me is that it's not really helping you play swing music, because in swing music you swing your eighth notes, and in Hannon everything is straight. The way you count it is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Okay, and again that's fine, but that's not going to help you play. Right, you're swinging those. So you can actually swing all of your Hannon exercise, okay, which can help you. I think it's even better to do one of these over a chord progressions. So, okay, that's starting to sound a little more jazzy. So you can adapt all of your Hannon exercises in a jazz setting by using your diatonic seventh chords, because all those Hannon exercises, they're basically walking up the notes of your C scale, and so you can practice your diatonic seventh chords with Hannon. I just recommend that you swing the Hannon if you're wanting to play jazz and blues. All right, my friends. Andre, yes, this lesson will be archived on our Piano with Jonny channel. You can watch it anytime. I do want to mention as well, since we are promoting our summer special at pianowithjonny.com, that every single week you can go live with one of our teachers at Piano with Jonny and ask them your questions. And it's literally like a private piano lesson. You can actually interact with them via video. You can show them you're playing. You can talk with them and have your question answered. We do this every single week. We call them our office hours. So if you're interested in the membership and getting personalized feedback, kind of like what we're doing today, but it's way more personalized because you get to talk to the teacher. And our teachers are fantastic. We have John Peru, who is a Grammy award-winning pianist. He's fantastic. He's worked with all of the big names, and he is one of our teachers. And we also have Dane, and we recently brought him on. He's fantastic. He plays everything that I play, and so you'll get to interact with him as well. So it's a really fantastic program. Again, encourage you to check it out. I think you guys have about, I don't know, 10 more hours left to sign up at 50% off the Piano with Jonny membership. And if you don't sign up, that's fine as well. We love having you guys subscribe to the channel. We enjoy sharing the content with you, and we're always trying to help you take your playing to the next level. My friends, I think it is time to go. It's been so much fun to play for you. Maybe I should play a tune to sign off. Do you guys have any requests? Play some little filler music. Autumn in New York. Let's see, I have to pull that one up. I sort of know it. Let's see, I'm gonna have to pull this up. I got a lead sheet here on my computer. If you can bear with me. Autumn in New. Let's see if it finds it. Okay, we found it here. Autumn in New York. Okay, you guys are gonna watch me play a lead sheet. I sort of know the melody, but not well enough to just play it by memory. Scroll the sheet music. Here we go. It's a long one. There's a little rubato there. Okay. Let's see. Let's pick it up. Anyway, truly good to be here with you guys live. Thank you all for following the channel here. It's such a joy to share the gift of music. I hope each one of you is taking to heart all the things you're learning and implementing all the things that we teach and taking your playing to the next level. It's truly so much fun to teach you. And be sure to check out pianowithjohnny.com. Also, keep following the channel, leaving your comments. We love reading your comments. We want to know what you want us to cover. So please keep letting us know there in the comments. And guys, thank you so much. It's been a ton of fun, and we'll see you around. All right, take care, everyone. See ya.